Okay, conic sections. This circle, sorry, parabola, ellipse, and hyperbola, these are called conic sections. If you want, you can call circle also as a conic section and even pair of straight lines. Okay. I remember very strikingly in my BTech first year at Andhra University, we have one professor Subba Reddy. Okay, he's the engineering mechanics for us. The very first class, okay, I don't know for what reason he has to teach something. I don't remember exactly the topic, but the course was engineering mechanics, but in the beginning something got to do with math. Okay. Especially to the mechanical engineering department, so they have their own lab. There are lathe machines where whatever they want with wood or iron or metal, they can actually manufacture. So he got this made. He has a big wooden cone like this, solid wooden cone. Okay, he has a wooden cone. And he already got the things cut. For example, you cut like this. You open this. And from the top, if you see, okay, what will you see from the top after removing this?
Frustum.
Frustum. Yeah, the whole piece is frustum. I'm talking about from the top, what you see is the fresh surface. That is surface, right? If you don't cut like this, if you cut a little slant like this, remove this, and what do you see?
Ellipse.
Okay, so that is an ellipse. Okay, and if you cut like this, okay, and remove this piece or remove this piece and see the fresh surface, what you see is a parabola. Okay, what is this? This should be parallel to this slant height. What if I take little more angle than that? In IP textbook, you have nice pictures. Okay, I even remember your seniors when we just started last year, first online for them. I switched off the lights and I took help of my son. Right now, I can just tell you, I don't have to do it. You can do it at your home if you want. You take a torchlight. Okay, you take a torchlight. If you look at the light coming from that, you can imagine it like a frustum, or if you trace it back, it is like a cone. Okay, so if you put torchlight like this in front of the board, I think you will see a bright circle. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you make it little slant like this, okay, then you will see some little bit slant. You will see some oval shape. That is an ellipse. Okay. And if you keep little more like this, you will find it, just opening but never ending. It just goes forever kind of thing. That is actually parabola. And if you can put two torchlights, okay, one like this and other one like this. Okay, from this the light is like this, from this the light is somewhat like this. Those two together is hyperbola. Of course, it is not that two parabolas together is hyperbola. It is somewhat like that. Okay. Again, why the torchlight is giving that is very simple. The light coming from the torchlight is in the form of a
curve, sir. Parabola.
Cone.
It's cone. Okay. You are cutting the cone at different things. So when you are rotating the cone and this board is cutting it, the angle at which it is cutting. So in your IP textbook, you have nice pictures and there are a lot of YouTube videos. Last year, actually, when I taught, first time when we are teaching online, so we thought we'll also try to show some videos from YouTube or some graphic things that we can show. It was nice, but we are always busy with the time of completing the syllabus and preparing for mains and advanced. Okay, so somehow these things doesn't come in JEE advanced exam. Okay, it's just for our own satisfaction. Why the word conic section came? For that I'm telling all this. Okay, but actually it would be nice. Anybody can search in YouTube. Conic section. I can try to send some link if you want, just for fun only. You get a what you call animations of how by cutting the cone at different angles, you will get a different conic sections. Okay, so let me take two cones. One cone like this, another cone like this. Okay. Now this angle, okay, is let us say beta. And what I'm cutting with the plane, that is at alpha. If alpha is 90 degrees, okay, like this, then when you cut it and see what you get, circle, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So alpha 90 degrees, we will get circle. When alpha is more than beta but less than 90 degrees. Okay, this is beta. So beta, alpha is more than beta, less than 90 degrees. So beta less than alpha, less than 90 degrees, we will get ellipse. If alpha is equal to beta, that means it is parallel to this. What you get is parabola. When 0 less than alpha, less than beta. Okay. Then let us take the two cones like this. You know, you're cutting like this, where with the vertical line, it is making lesser angle than the semi-vertical angle. Okay. You will get one piece here, one piece here. Remove this, remove this. You will cut some curve here, some curve here. That is hyperbola. Okay. So circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. All right. So you are not going to get any question in advanced or mains exam for whether alpha is less than beta parabola or equal to beta parabola at all. Because the chapter name is conic sections, why that word came, I have to tell you. That's why it is this. Even pair of straight lines you can call conic section if you want. To take the two cones, cut right in the middle vertically. Okay. Remove this. You will see these two lines. That is a pair of lines. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So nothing. Just put heading conic sections and write this figure and draw these four things just for the sake of starting.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, but the cone should be hollow, no, sir?
Hollow or solid doesn't matter. Of course, the perimeter only we call ellipse, not the whole thing. To understand, we'll
Yes,
call
sir.
only this ellipse or this whole thing is ellipse. Oh, okay. We're talking about that shape only. That's all. Okay, today is what, 1/6/2020. Okay, just draw this figure and write these 4 points. I'm not giving any explanation that take two cones and this is a plane at which you are cutting it and all that. Everything is not right.
Sir, should we write this, sir?
That's what I said. I told you to write, right, everybody?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This one point. Second point. Actually, this is not, this is also definition. What we discussed is a definition of parabola, ellipse, hyperbola. But this definition is not suitable for getting equations in coordinate geometry. Okay. So they have another definition. Okay. What is that? Let L be a line and S be a point not on the line. Not on the line L. Let P be any point in the plane containing L and S. Let M be foot of P on line L. Okay, see, I have a fixed line L. I have a fixed point S. They are not variable. L is a fixed line, S is a fixed point. That L be a line and S be a point, not on the line. And S should not lie on. P be any point in the plane containing L and S. So you can take P somewhere here, anywhere. Here. Find its foot. I'll call it as M. Okay. P is a variable point. M is also a variable point, but S and L are fixed. If SP by PM is equal to some lambda, where lambda greater than 0, it is a positive real number. Okay. Then locus of P is a conic or conic section. Okay, so we are defining conic section as a locus. We take a fixed point and a fixed line. Take a variable point as the distance to the fixed point and perpendicular distance to the fixed line. They bear a constant ratio. Okay, from the variable point to fixed point, from variable point perpendicular distance to that line, the ratio should be constant. Then locus of P is a conic section. If lambda is equal to 1, locus of P is a parabola. If 0 less than lambda less than 1, then locus of P is an ellipse. If lambda greater than 1, then locus of P is an hyperbola. Is a hyperbola. Okay, if that ratio SP by PM is equal to 1, P is parabola. If it is between 0 and 1, some fixed number between 0 and 1 is an ellipse. If it is more than 1, the locus is hyperbola. S is called focus of that conic section. L is called directrix. D-I-R-E-C-T, directrix. O is not directrix of the conic section. Of the conic section. Next, lambda. Generally, we call it as E also.
Sir, L is called
directrix. Directrix. Okay. Lambda or E, generally we represent this lambda with E. So lambda equal to E is called eccentricity of that conic section. So according to this definition, circle or pair of straight lines we don't consider it as conic section, even though we get by cutting the cone. Okay. So basically everything we are going to define as locus. Even if you remember when we started circles, we said locus of a point which is at a constant distance from a fixed point is called a circle. Like that, parabola, ellipse and hyperbola. These are the definitions. So all three definitions are more or less same. There will be fixed line and fixed point. Take a variable point, find distance to the fixed point which is called focus. Find perpendicular distance to the fixed line which is called directrix. If that ratio is constant, let's say they say equal to 5, then locus of P is a hyperbola. If it is equal to 7, locus of P is a hyperbola. If it is equal to 20, it's hyperbola as long as it's more than. If it is equal to 1 by 2 or 1 by 3 or 1 by 5 or 2 by 9, any number less than 1, locus of P is ellipse. If it is equal to 1, locus of P is parabola. Please mute yourself, somebody there. Okay, we'll do some questions based on this definition just to become familiar with it. But I'll discuss one or two more points and then. Okay, everybody copied this whole thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, then when is it circle, sir? Which lambda?
This definition, there is no circle. That's what I said. This definition cannot give you circle and pair of straight lines.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third point. Later on, when you do questions, you will realize anytime you take any S you want, any L you want, any lambda you want, when you expand this whole thing, bring this one this side, square it, you will get the general equation of conic like this. General equation of conic is ax square plus 2hxy plus by square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. A second degree non-homogeneous equation. The reason is what you will get is st square equal to lambda square into pm square. This is a distance formula. When you expand, you'll get x square term, y square term, x term, y term, and constant term. This is a perpendicular distance to a line. It is in the form of a1x plus b1y plus c1 whole square. When you expand, you'll get x square term, y square term, xy term, x term, y term, and constant term. When you bring everything one side, you will get like this one. Okay. But when it will represent, okay, the proof is not there in the syllabus, even though later on I'll give you some idea about the proof. That's some conditions. What is that? If delta not equal to 0 and h square equal to ab, okay, this equation represents parabola. If delta not equal to 0 and h square greater than or equal to ab, this equation represents hyperbola. And if delta not equal to 0 and h square is less than ab, this equation represents ellipse. What does delta means here?
Sir, ABP plus 2FGH minus AF square minus AF square minus 4.
Okay, remember that way. Delta equal to ABC plus 2FGH minus AF square minus BG square minus CH. That is delta. So in first year pair of straight lines you studied when delta is 0 and h square greater than or equal to AB, it represents a pair of lines. So when delta is equal to 0, pair of lines. When delta not equal to 0, it is conic sections. In the three cases, h square equal to AB, greater than AB, less than AB. This is quite similar to the eccentricity E that we studied. Here E equal to one kind of thing, E is greater than one, less than one kind of thing. Okay, the proofs are not there for JEE Advanced also. The formulas are there, but we'll get an opportunity sometimes to give some idea about how this might have come. All right.
Sir, just a
Okay. And while others are copying, it would have been nice if for you already optics are taught. I wanted to tell some points, but it's okay. For you, ray optics is not yet taught, right?
no, sir.
Sir.
In your school level, you might have studied, we have a circular mirror like this. You send some parallel beam of light and they will all converge here, and that point is called focus. Okay. But I think you very well know that if you take a circular mirror and you take a parallel beam of light, actually they don't converge at a point. Actually, while proving this, I think we'll prove this length is r by 2. You drop one line here and you assume this point and this point are very close. That's how you prove that this is r by 2. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
But this is not true. In fact, if I have a huge mirror like this with a lot of aperture, and I send something like this, why should I assume this point and this point are very close? They are not. That's why they say paraxial rays. They say those rays which are very close to the principal axis. Okay, for them, we can say this point and this point are very close. Okay, but you know these assumptions. What happens in real life when you really take some mirrors, they don't actually converge at a point. Okay, so does anybody know a curve? What is that curve? When you send a parallel beam of light without any assumptions and all, it actually converges at one point. That is parabola. Parabola is a curve where you don't have any issue. You make a parabola and silver it outside, send a parallel beam of light, they perfectly converge at a point. There are many ways to prove it. Okay, you can use calculus. In fact, this is a tangents and normals question in first year, including differential equations. Right? I'm looking for a curve where at every point, if I know incident ray, I know normal, I can find reflected ray, right? It should converge at a point, it should pass by a fixed point, let's say 5, 0. So what is the curve where it can any light ray pass to this? Assume this point is x1, y1. Find the normal slope, find the slope, find the slope, the line equation, substitute 5, 0, get a differential equation, solve it, we'll get it. But what I want to impress upon you is circular mirror doesn't converge the parallel beam of light at one point. It's only an assumption. It's not true. And we do a lot of calculations only for the paraxial rays. Okay, not for other things.
Okay, anyway, parabolic mirror is possible now.
Yes, parabolic mirror possible. Yes. Okay. Anyway, sometimes I wonder, what is the use of what we are studying? We study so much and we don't use it. I think at least I know the people, the students that I taught and my friends and all, they all studied optics. Okay, ray optics extensively and wave optics. They don't use a single bit of it. Okay, unless they go into a particular field. Okay, very particular field, something like that. But anyway, they say some people go into some particular quantum optics or something and they have to know something and all that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But we can see real life applications where they use. So this parabola we can see, okay? We can see mass everywhere, all right? Especially coming to the parabola. If anybody remembers olden days cycles, Hercules, very old cycles, front headlight used to be there, stainless steel ones.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That is actually parabola. Take parabola and revolve it. Okay, that is that shape. Take a parabola and revolve about axis, the three-dimensional one. That is that. Okay. Why? What they do is they keep the bulb exactly at the focus. So that every light ray that is coming from that after reflection, it will become what?
Parabola. Yes.
Parallel beam of light. Light always follows what you call the reverse direction. That is, you send light like this, they focus. You keep the source there. What they come out will be parallel, na?
Sir, but we don't want parallel ray, no, sir.
Huh?
Sir, if that is parallel, it can cover only small amount of area, no, sir.
Yeah. So we'll distort it little bit so that it will cover little wider area. But you want to go to long distance, okay? You need to have that. Okay. You see car headlights, the back reflectors, they are not spherical, right? You can see they're too steep like this. That is parabolic mirrors, perfect parabolas they are.
So that silver color only.
Yes, the reflector. Yes. And if you see torch light, I'm sure everybody plays with the torch light, and you can see the reflector behind it, right? They are searchlights, especially the strong searchlights, which is with a long beam. They are all parabolic. Okay, right? In fact, I don't remember nowadays they are using solar cells for generating electricity. But before that, they were using the solar power, where they used to harness the solar power by, you know, whatever, there will be some reflectors. They'll convert the beam at one point where there will be some stream of water in a pipe or something going. The water will be converted into steam and it runs the turbine, and that's how they used to generate power from the solar. Okay. So I don't remember, in one country, forgot the name of it. There is a huge, they constructed one huge, some kind of structure with a lot of mirrors are kept on it, that is pasted on that wall, whatever surface. But there is a huge parabola, and it is possible to turn it or something. I don't know. When you get sunlight, falls on that, it will be focused at one point. There, one pipeline runs carrying water, and because so much of sunlight is converged there, it becomes practically steam almost instantly, and that used to run the turbines, and then they generate power. Okay? So there is a huge parabolic ones, and you see all these PV antennas, the Tata Sky and all these DTH antennas, and the huge antennas that they use, for telescoping purposes and all that. They are not circular mirrors; they are all parabolic. And if you cut it there, you will see, small bowl kind of things that you see. Okay, so huge parabolic surface, just cut it, and that part is there. So all the telescopes, the Hubble telescope and all these things, wherever they are supposed to use spherical mirrors, they actually use parabolic mirrors. Okay? You may study while studying as spherical mirrors because calculations are easier, but actually in real life, they are all parabolic. So you can see parabola all over the place. So whenever you see car, torchlight, headlight, okay, this. Okay. You can see ellipse, okay, in many places. One place that you can see is when you take bath, a lot of soaps are in the form of elliptical shape, at least gears and all in winter if you use it. And this I always give an example for people to remember. Many people think, two parabolas, keep it like this, it is hyperbola. It is not that. There is a big difference. When you go to, further, parabola will be more and more flat. It will go higher, but it will be more and more horizontal type of. The tangent becomes flat. Whereas hyperbola is not like that. Hyperbola is like this. It is curved here, but after some time it becomes more and more slant line. Still curved, but it is quite trying to become almost like a straight line. Similarly, another curve like this, and will get almost a straight line like this. Okay. So just to for people to remember drastically, I tell them, if you want hyperbola, very simple. Take two tongue cleaners and put it like this. That is hyperbola. Okay. Because not the flat tongue cleaners, the bent one. You can see curve here. You can see a somewhat straight line part here, right? Okay. So early in the morning, you can see conic sections right in your bathroom. Okay, you can see ellipse depending on which soap you use, and you can see hyperbola if you are using this kind of tongue cleaners. Parabola you can see in the car reflectors and things like that. Okay, anyway, my point is not that, but anyway, these all there is a physics in it a little bit, obviously. I learned quite a bit of optical properties of this conic section in physics books on. Okay. There's an IIT Delhi professor, Isaac Gartek, very famous professor. He wrote one book on optics. There's a lot of mathematical explanations to all these optical properties of. Okay, so as I said, actually for you there's one chapter called wave optics. There are two chapters: ray optics and wave optics. Okay, C. Verma, if you see geometrical optics and ray optics, there will be two chapters. So that wave optics chapter is over. I would have told this point, but it's okay. I'll explain later. Parabola optics property will explain once again. Even ellipse also has one nice property in optics. Ellipse will have two forces. You send any light ray from here, like this or like this or like this or like this. Okay. If this is silvered outside, after reflection, they all will pass to other focus. Okay. In fact, if you can construct an elliptical room, okay, but you take this and rotate it, elliptical room, you put a light here and you can sit here and study nicely. because every light that is reflected will fall on them. In fact, I don't remember in US some kind of what is that? FBI is there, right? FBI.
Yes, sir.
FBI.
Yes, sir,
Federal Bureau of
FBI.
Investigation. Yeah. Either FBI or one more is there, SWAT. SW80 something is there like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of these headquarters. Okay. The front part of their building is a huge dome. Okay. Big hall. The dome is actually cut it here. That is, you take an ellipse, rotate it, you will get a solid ellipse, cut it off. Only it is like a hemisphere, like that, ellipsoid. Okay. So they constructed like that. And these are the two foci. You know what? You stand here, and if you make any sound here, the sound also follows all the reflective properties like, optical light rays. They're also rays. After reflection, all the sound will reach here. So you can stand anywhere, you can hear some sound, but if you stand here, you can hear with the maximum intensity. Okay. I'm sure even Golconda Fort and other forts which have some kind of optical properties are related to some part of the conic section. Of course, they are not at one place. They are not in the same level. One time you do here and sound is audible in another place. So they have some ways where the sound will travel without much of loss. Okay. All about acoustics. But one of these headquarters buildings has this kind of thing. There are 2 points where you speak here, you can speak listen at the other place very nice. So even hyperbola has same optical property like that. So hyperbola also will have two foci. If a light ray is trying to reach here to this focus, and if it is silvered inside here, after reflection, it will try to go to other focus. Okay. So we have some mathematical application to it. We'll see this later. But what I'm trying to do here is, all the conic sections have some common features, parabola, ellipse, hyperbola. The first point I said is they come by, you take the cone and cutting at different angles, you will get. Second point I told is, they are all in the same definition, that SP by PM, distance to a fixed point by distance to a fixed line is constant. By changing that constant, locus can be parabola, ellipse, or hyperbola. Third point I said is, all of them have equation like this, but the slight conditions, it can represent parabola, ellipse, or hyperbola. Fourth point, don't have to write, and just describing the optics, the property or nature of these curves, parabola, ellipse, and hyperbola. Okay, so now coming to our practical intermediate and JEE advanced and mains, only one thing is useful for us. SP by PM is equal to E. Okay, this is our definition. I'll give you focus, I'll give you directrix, I'll give you this number eccentricity. Okay, so now if you want to find locus of a point satisfying this, simply take that point as x comma y, find distance to focus, find perpendicular distance to directrix, and equate it to eccentricity and find the equation. You'll get the locus of the point. So just to get familiar, let us write one or two questions. Find equation of ellipse. Find equation of ellipse with focus at 2, 3, comma directrix as x minus 2y plus 4 equal to 0. Minus 2y plus 4 is not right. X minus 2y plus 1 equal to 0. And with eccentricity. That ratio is called eccentricity. Okay. The eccentricity E is equal to 1 by 2. Okay. So simply we'll use SP by PM equal to E. That is our definition. You take that P as x comma y. let P be x comma y. So what is the distance to focus? SP means square root of x minus 2 whole square plus y minus 2. What is distance to directrix? Mod x minus 2y plus 1 by root 5. From a point to a line, distance formula is ax1 to dy1 plus c by root a square plus b square. That should be equal to 1 by 2. I can send this one here now. Square root of x square plus y square minus 4x minus 6y plus 13 is equal to 1 by 2 into x minus 2y plus 1 with a mod by root 5. Bring this denominator here and square it. 4 5 are 20. So 20 times x square plus y square minus 4x minus 6y plus 13. So this square this, you will get x square plus 4y square plus 1 minus 4xy plus 2x minus 4y. Okay, if you send everything one side, 20x square, there x square. So you have 19x square. 20y square and 4y square is 16y square plus 4xy minus 80x. There 2x, so minus 82x minus 120y, therefore y, so minus 116y. 20 into 13, 260, 259 equal to 0. Okay. Okay, everybody got the same answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, second question. Find the focus, comma, find a focus, comma, a directrix, and eccentricity of the conic five x minus 2 whole square, 5y minus 3 whole square equal to 7 into 2 into 3x 6x plus 8y minus 7. Okay. Earlier I gave you focus, directrix and eccentric, asked equation of the curve. Now I am giving the curve to you, ask me what is focus, what is directrix, what is eccentric. If you expand it, I don't think we'll be able to tell what is the focus, directrix, and all. You have to adjust it in the form of SP is equal to E into Tm. Anybody want to tell what is the focus of this conic section?
2/5, 3/5.
Yes, good. Who is that?
Nitin.
Good. All right.
Sir, is eccentricity 10 root 2?
10 root 3.
2 root 2.
2 root 2, sir.
2 root 2. Yes, 2 root 2 is correct.
Directrix is 6x plus 8y minus.
Yeah. Only if this is not in distance form, you have to take 5 square common here. Then you will get x minus 2/5 whole square, y minus 3/5 whole square. Here I want in distance form, so I want to write this as 6x plus 8y minus 7 by 10 into 10 square. So when I send this 5 square that side, you will get x minus 2/5 whole square, y minus 3/5 whole square. This is 2 into 100 and this 24, so it will become 8, which is 2 root 2 whole square, mod 6x plus 8y minus 7 by root 6 square plus 8 square whole square. Now it looks like nicely sp square equal to e square into pm square. This is sp square, this is eccentricity square, this is pm square. What do you think this equation represents, ellipse or parabola or hyperbola?
Hyperbola.
Why?
E greater than 1.
Yes, eccentricity is more than 1, so it is hyperbola. Okay, so S is equal to 2/5 comma 3/5 focus. And directrix is 6x plus 8y minus 7 equal to 0. Eccentricity equal to E is equal to 2 root 2. And the curve represents hyperbola. Or equation represents hyperbola. Okay, so everybody clear? You have to just manipulate it slightly so that it is in the form of sp square equal to e square into pm square. Today I'll not be able to give you any homework on parabola in the beginning of it. So circles, try to complete first mains material fully. Next, system of circles IP, the 2 exercises. Next, advanced material even. I think room number 9 for your children, they're having classes for many hours, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Already morning 5 hours. 11 to 12:30 you are having class, right?
Generally 11 to 1 only, sir. But today 11 to 1, 11 to 12 only, sir. Today 11 to 1, sir.
Okay. And again in the afternoon also.
Yes, sir. After it was announced that every week there will be exams, or kept from 1:30 to 3.
So 11 to 1 also and 1:30 to 3 also.
Yes, sir.
And again NSS classes from what time to what time?
4:30 to 5:45.
5:45, sir.
Well, 1 hour 15 minutes.
Sir, room number 10 students are so like this.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we should not compare. All is good. Okay. For them that is good. For you this is good. Oh, it's like when you whether vanilla ice cream is good or chocolate ice cream is good or mango ice cream or butterscotch. This is good. Different people like different things.
Sir, at present nothing is good.
At present, nothing is good. Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, we it's not required, but just like another question, we'll write it. Equation of conic with focus S x1 comma y1, directrix Lx plus my plus n equal to 0, directrix dash, and eccentricity E is directly write the answer x minus x1 whole square plus y minus y1 whole square equal to e square into Lx plus my minus n by root L square plus m square whole square. So this is a general formula for any conic section. You know focus, you know eccentricity, you know directrix. How did we get SP equal to EPM? So
minus n or plus n, sir?
that is this is plus n, so this is also plus n. Okay. So explanation. Here simply you write SP by PM is equal to E, SP equal to EPM, and SP square equal to E square into PM square. And that SP square is, just write this once again if you want, x minus x1 whole square plus y minus y1 whole square. PM square is Lx plus my plus n with a mod by root L square plus m square whole square. Okay. Even this definition, original definition also we don't use it. We will discuss chapter wise. So this is generally we discuss about any conic section. Now chapter by chapter, parabola separate, ellipse separate, hyperbola separate, we will discuss. So Saptarshi Mandal, you got some way to refresh your mind?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing?
Basically, for depressing while improving the concentration, sir actually told to revise how I'm getting distracted and to avoid those for those basically.
Okay. All of you should do some physical exercise every day. Some half an hour walking, jogging, something. Okay. Don't have to write anything because hardly 5 minutes. We'll start parabola tomorrow. I mean, for the sake of writing purpose, but I'll discuss some. Let's say I have a line. I have a point. This is S, and this is some line L. There can be a point P here where SP and PM can be equal. These two distances can be equal. Okay. Like that, there will be a lot of points. Can you, if I really give you the line and really give you the point on the paper, can you identify some points which satisfy this condition SP equal to PM? Can you mark them easily?
Sir, first find
Yes.
the foot of the perpendicular and midpoint of foot of the perpendicular and S.
Yes, you draw a perpendicular here, call that as M if you want. Definitely the midpoint, you can see SP is equal to PM. Yes, this is one obvious point. Can you tell any more points like this? Can we mark on the paper easily, satisfying this point? There. So we have a line. This is S. I drop the perpendicular. This is P. This is N. Okay, this is one easy identified point. There may be a lot of points like this where SP equal to PM, but nothing specific. Okay. Are there any other points that we can mark easily?
Sir, you can find the equation of parabola.
Yeah, we can find the equation, no doubt about it.
Sir,
Yes, please.
can you explain question, sir? Means what we should find, sir?
Like you told one point which is easily identifiable, satisfying condition SP equal to PM, na? Like that, can we mark some more points on the paper?
A straight line parallel to the
point to the line, sir.
sir. We can take no.
Yeah, in fact, you are saying construct a line parallel to it, right? Okay. Basically, I want to construct a square. Okay, with this has one corner, this has one corner, and these are two sides. Even this point will satisfy that, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is one P where SP equal to PM. Similarly, down also there will be one point where this length equal to this. So this also SP equal to PM. For this also SP equal to PM. For this also SP equal to PM. So we already got 3 points. Yes, please.
On the other side of line, we can take no.
Above side of the line. Okay. You want to take somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here.
No, sir. Means opposite image of S, sir.
Oh no, that can't be. If I take S, that is not that image of S. I'll call S dash. Will this distance equal to distance to this?
No, sir. Double.
Okay. Can any point here satisfy SP equal to PM condition?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Because always PM will be shorter and SP will be longer. Okay. So you cannot have any point satisfying SP equal to PM on this side. They have to be on this side only. So this side SP will be larger than. Okay. So we got already 3 points. I'm sure there will be some points in between SP equal to PM, this SP equal to PM, here also SP equal to PM. You will get some points like this. There will be, I'm sure, if some point satisfies as a mirror image with respect to this line also should satisfy because this equal to this equal to this. If these two are equal, these two are also equal. I think we'll get a set of points like this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I say whatever is the shape, I don't even call parabola, it should be symmetrical about this line.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If there is a point here, its mirror image also should satisfy the whole data. Okay. So this is our fixed point called focus. This is our fixed line called directrix. Imagine a line which is imagine a line which is passed through focus and perpendicular to directrix like this. I can say the whole figure is symmetrical about this. So this is our parabola actually. This is a focus. There is a name for this line. This is called the axis of the parabola. Okay. There is a name for this point. Okay. Where axis and the parabola meets. That is called pole or vertex. Better to call vertex. This point is called vertex of the parabola. Okay. So this is called axis of the parabola. This point is called vertex of the parabola. You have a parabola. You have directrix here. You have focus here. Axis here. Right. To take any 2 points on the parabola and join, any 2 join, doesn't matter. Okay. In a circle, if you join any 2 points, so what is that line called?
Chord.
Chord, like that here also. All these lines which are joining 2 points on the parabola are called chords of the parabola. But if a chord passes through focus, they are all called focal chords. How many focal chords will be there?
Infinite.
Infinite.
All of you know, I think if you take a point x comma y, x is called abscissa and y is called ordinate, right?
Yes, sir.
That is basically one of them is this length, abscissa, this is length is the ordinate. Okay. Maybe that is the reason. If you take a parabola all these vertical chords like this, which are parallel, perpendicular to axis or parallel to directrix, they are called double ordinates. You can say this is one ordinate, this is one ordinate, but the total is called double ordinate. So all the vertical chords are called double ordinates. So parabola has many chords. Some of them are called double ordinates. Some of them are called focal chords. Some of them are just chords. But there is one chord which is passing through focus and perpendicular to the axis.
Yeah.
That chord is called latus rectum. Okay, this chord is called latus rectum. One interesting thing that you can see here, if this length is k, this is also k because this is midpoint, and if this is 2k, this should be 2k, this should be 2k. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is a formula where this length of latus rectum, we call it. This is latus rectum and this is length of latus rectum. Okay. This length and this length are equal. This and this are they are equal. So you find distance between focus and directrix, you get 2k. Double of that will be this length, latus rectum. There is some relation. In fact, if we assume this is origin, what are the coordinates of this point?
K, comma 0.
2k comma 0.
This is k comma, because origin is here and k is this. So this is k comma 0. And what are the coordinates of this point?
Minus comma 0.
If I take this as x-axis, what is the equation of this line will be?
Y equals to minus. X equals to minus k.
Yes, because this is minus k comma 0, it will be x equal to minus k. What are the coordinates of these 2 points will be? This point and this.
K comma 2k and k comma minus 2k.
Yeah, it will be k comma 2k, it will be k comma minus 2. Okay, there are some important things about all these things. Tomorrow we'll discuss with the proper setting and all that. We'll start parabola tomorrow. Today only we're done phonics questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.